Hello, everybody. Let's go ahead and get some music going and we'll switch over to the stream camera, shall we? That's going to pop on. I hope we're all doing well. Let's go and should be amused. That's the wrong music. Let me just pause this quickly. That's Spotify taking over, not YouTube. You don't want Spotify because I don't want a copyright strike. That was a bit of Blink-182. Probably just got away with that. There we are. That's what I want. Copyright-free stuff. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. It's probably going to overwhelm the stream. Speaking of, let's go ahead and get the game unmuted. We don't need anything else unmuted for now. Actually, you shouldn't have heard Spotify because it'll be for a different thing. So yes, Mixer for the win. Luke's fuck up is not going to show up on stream. Okay, so we are live with some FS Economy. I'm actually going to swap this over to display capture just because... Oh, that's changed the... You're actually better off on game capture because it captures the actual like proper visuals of the game. I'm gonna leave that on that. So, don't know what FS Economy is. It's just basically a third-party add-on for Flight Simulator that allows you to sort of select assignments and pick and choose where you're flying from. You can own a plane in this virtual economy. You earn money in this virtual economy, and I've done it before on stream. In the last time I streamed this, we were in my little Cessna, which we've got here again. I need to set up this quickly, so I just need to open up the EFB and turn the PMS50 back on, which is another wonderful add-on that I own. I have a lot of add-ons for this game. I'm just gonna make sure my throttle controls work. Prop doesn't matter because we don't have a variable speed prop, and mixture. So we need to push it all the way in because we'll be starting the plane in a second here. Give it a very small amount of throttle. Fix my trim wheel. So it was, the plane's currently trimmed in a neutral position like it should be. That was apparently because I had the AI trim settings still on. And that's why my trim wheel on my yoke wasn't working. So if you're interested in what yoke I've got, it's a Turtle Beach Velocity 1. I can actually do a thing here and show it off if I wanted to. I've got a spare camera. I might plug that in at another point. I need to get like another boom arm for that, so I can mount it sort of to a counter I've got to the side of me, so I can maybe get an angle of the yoke. That's something I'm thinking about doing. Like temporarily, I've moved my Stream Deck on top of my yoke, so I've got a easy. I'm not reaching over my yoke to access my Stream Deck. My keyboard's to the side. I need to get a stand or drop down thing for that as well to make that easier to get. But we're gonna get there with this yoke set and this this flight sim stuff. I don't expect this flight to go very smoothly because I'm still getting very much used to this yoke. I mean, the rudder pedals, I've tweaked a little setting in them, but I need to go through and like really get some help setting these up. So these move like that. Look, I've mapped the look controls to my yoke now as well, so that's a little bit smoother. That's not analog, so it will be a little bit juttery still, but it's a damn sight better than it was. I can zoom in with this on here. Should be able to zoom in as well. I've got a button to reset it, so that all goes off my right control side of my yoke, which is like just here to me. I think we should get the plane started and actually get to think about flying. So the first thing we need to do is plan our route, actually, before we start doing anything like that. So we are flying from, it's in here. We're flying from Austin Lake in Michigan, and we're going to be flying into Pontiac Municipal in Illinois. So that's an auto. We don't want to be flying at 130. That's very high for a little Cessna. 09 Charlie is our origin airport, and we are flying into KPNT. We're sort of going to be flying east. Oh no, we're flying southwest. We want to be flying sort of southwest because we're trying to get this plane over to San Francisco. That's where I'm basing the plane. That is the goal. So we'll set this up on VFR and see what route it gives us. So we should be flying over the Great Lakes. We're not going to be too far off of being done with the Great Lakes soon. No, so we're in Michigan. We want to get away from the Great Lakes and start heading over this way. Get over to this sort of area. So it's sort of in the right direction. We are eventually going to have to fly over some mountains and that sort of thing. Find a route. This will sort of somewhat give me a landing vector, but that's not a big issue. We'll probably end up doing a bit of a circle of the runway before we land. Same with coming out of here. This won't translate to the GPS here, but it's good for learning. It's good for setting up things. So we'll go ahead and send that to avionics. We don't use ATC when I'm flying just because it's not very good in the game. And in all fairness, I don't like flying with ATC. I do this more casually. I don't do this like in a trying to prepare to be professional way. I fly flight sim in a very casual way. I just want to enjoy the scenery. That's why we're going to SoCal. Okay, with that done, let's go ahead and get the plane fired up, shall we? We'll hide the yoke quickly. So mixture is start by leaning out the mixture. Let's just make sure that the fuel tank is set to both, which it is. Trim, I should neutralize that if I can. Okay, so that is technically neutral on the trim settings. Parking brake needs to be on. Oh, no, that's not parking brake. Parking brake is on, which it is. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and start turning on some of the avionics. So avionics on, master switch on. That turns all the electronics on the plane. So our Garmin will boot up. I'm just going to make sure that the flight plan is set. It isn't. So we are going to need to set this in here. So it was, if I look in here, it was KPNT. I can actually get a plugin, by the way, that will bring up an overlay and TwitchBot. I just need to set that up at some point. And it just did the wrong thing. Where's my backspace? There it is. Okay, so that should now give us a flight plan. Got nav. If we go into that, okay, now it's giving us a flight plan on the little HUD there. That's what we want to do. We are over a lake. We've got to take off. The runway's there. We've got to take off in that direction there. So this is a grass field, so we're probably going to want a little bit of flaps on takeoff, and we're going to need to get, we basically need maximum takeoff performance on this plane, which we will try and get. Right, so we don't need nav lights, we don't need landing lights, we do need to put our beacons on because we're about to start this plane up. Mixture is auto lean at the minute, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn the magnetors on, pull the starter, and we're just going to slowly feed in the mixture until the plane starts. Nice and easy. This is why I like general aviation, because starting the plane took like 5 seconds there. So now we've got the magnetors on. We are basically ready for takeoff. There's not a lot to it. You don't have a fuel pump on these planes. They're so simple. We'll turn that back off. We'll probably turn the carb heat on and the cabin heat on because we don't know what the conditions are outside. And we can have a look at the thermometer quickly. But it's sitting about 18 degrees outside, 18 Celsius, so it's actually quite good conditions outside. I would fly with real world conditions, but it's apparently really cloudy at the minute. Again, with me being inexperienced with this yoke, I was like, I don't want to fly in real world conditions until I know what the actual conditions are like. So what we can go ahead and do now is we turn off our parking brake. I'm going to just give it some maximum right brake, and I'm just going to feed in some power and see if we turn to the right. So this is something I'm not very used to at the minute. Oh, that's a little bit too much power, I think. Again, it's going to take some getting used to on my front. That's a building. That's a building. We've just hit the fucking building, haven't we? Oh, great. Let's get my controller here for camera. I can set the camera controls on. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have. I think it's Alt P for pushback. There we go. Who needs the pushback controls? Probably should have done that in the first place. I didn't refuel the plane. I'm an idiot. One second. I'm gonna cut the engine off. I'm just gonna quickly restart the flight and give us some fuel because I didn't buy any fuel for this flight like an idiot. Turn that off. Action, cancel flight. I actually go into FS economy and get some flight because I'm an idiot. Some fuel even because I'm an idiot. Fuel. Refuel, right. Do with gallons. Just go 40 gallons. That wasn't expensive. Okay. Now we've actually got some fuel. I can restart the flight. Action, start flight. Okay, now if I go into this view, it should... Okay, it shows 83% now. Okay, we actually have some fuel now. Let's restart the plane. I said a little bit of mixture. Okay. She's happier now. Let's not make that mistake again. Chat, please remind me to get fuel when we land at airports. Just so that I'm not an idiot. I think that'd be a good idea. And what we'll do is... yeah, I wish I could get another view here for my map and stuff so you can see where I'm flying. That'd be good. But we'll go ahead and get on the runway now, like I actually was meant to. Oh, I'm still in pushback. This to me is the jarring bit. Once you get on the runway, it should be quite smooth. Say that, it's a grass field. It's never going to be smooth. Right. Just center my camera. Mixture's all the way in. Let's go ahead and give myself two bumps of flaps here. And gonna hold the brakes for a second, let the plane ramp up, and we'll release. Just want to bump it so slightly to the right. Pull up. There we go, that's better. This is a little bit better than last time I flew like this, I'll be honest. Why have I got no ailerons? I've got no ailerons. That's a problem. Just gonna pause. Why is my pause button not working? Okay. Use that one instead. I'm gonna just... I said this would go well, didn't I? Velocity 1 yoke. We want flight control surfaces, primary control surfaces. Why the frick have I got no aileron? Aileron's axis. If this works now. There we are. Okay, now we can trim ourselves to flight. And once we're trimmed, we can turn our autopilot on. So we want to turn our... I haven't set the altitude yet, but we want to set at least... Turn our nav mode on. Okay, why is it doing shit like that? I don't know. What is it doing? Okay, the buttons on my yoke don't do what they need to do, so I need to fix that, but we can still set it manually. Turn nav mode on, and we'll set our target altitude. Oh, well, we don't do that on this. We've got to set vertical speed. Set our climb rate at about 500 feet per minute. That should do us, and then all we'll need to do now is just adjust the throttle for our rate of climb. I'm actually going to pull back a little bit on the throttle. We want to go about 110 knots. We don't need much speed. Oh, it's not knots, it's miles per hour. Either way, about 110 miles per hour is what we want from this plane for our climb performance. We don't need a whole lot. We probably could even get away with 100. And I'd say we want to climb to about 3,000 feet. We don't need much more than that. I will fix the yoke side of things later, because there's little buttons that should work and don't. I don't know if it's because I unplug it and leave it unplugged for a while, or if it's just the sim being weird. I'll find that out at some point. Okay, it's just pitched up really... Why is it stalling? Trying to stall out on me now. Just flight some weirdness, that. Really is flight sim weirdness, this. It doesn't want to trim out. Okay. Give it a little bit more. Keep it there. I don't want to reduce too much power. I just want to keep this thing stable and nice. Right about there. And we'll go ahead and check on some messages on Discord, shall we? By the way, I'll do it from mine quick. I am looking for Discord managers. So I want to rebuild my Discord server. I need to, you know, set that thing up. Therefore, if you are looking to apply, do !DC manage like I just have in chat, or wait for the bot to do its thing and time it out. Why is my plane doing this again? There shouldn't be any wind in the sim. But yeah, if you want to apply, click that Google Forums link, Google Forms link, and you can apply. What's my actual throttle percentage on? 90%. No flaps on or anything. I've got no idea what's going on with this plane. Trimmed for takeoff, I guess, but it looks like it doesn't want to be in the air. Could be the weight and balance, I don't know. Try and leave it there. We're almost at 3,000, so we'll be able to level it off anyway. And trim it out for level flight. We'll just check out the Discord servers. I don't see anything interesting going on. And let's go ahead and select altitude hold and get this thing to level out. Put that out another time. There we go. So we're now going way too fast. Let's go and pull back on throttle. We don't want to burn through all our fuel. Let that speed slowly crawl down. Then we want to sort of cruise at about 110 knots. That's a sort of a reasonable speed. You don't want to go too fast, you don't want to go too slow. Yeah, you can see it sort of starts to sway when it loses a bit of power, so I'm gonna go a little bit faster. We're gonna go for about, I don't know how to say it, maybe about 10 mil, like that much out of my throttle. You actually really don't need a lot to fly these things. The funny thing. Let's see what this thing does. This is easy, but I don't have to put my hands on the yoke or flight, like putting the input in now. Autopilot is a dream. I don't see anyone in here. Okay. Go ahead and look at episode economy. I'm gonna start looking at our next flight stuff, so I will swap it over to display capture quickly. So you're gonna see this. You're gonna see the quality slightly change there when I do that, just because it's display capture. And whilst we're flying, we'll go ahead and look at what assignments we've got at our next airport, which is Pontiac Municipal. And I don't think there's a lot over here. We've got two government charters. Sorry, I'm a bit gassy. One is going towards St. Louis. The other is Tulsa International. That's a bit too long for a flight, I'd say. I reckon we go for this one here, because then that'll cover the 2 trips I want to do on this stream. And that's a little bit of money as well in our pocket for our plane. Okay, so we're going to wait till we landed to do that anyway, so we'll leave that for now. Go ahead and chuck this back up here. And we'll chuck it back over to display capture. And we'll enjoy this beautiful scenery with Gregory, my co-pilot. Yes, he's called Gregory. I'm gonna get some chocolate, I think. I'm actually really fancying some chocolate right now. I've got a bit of an Easter egg that I bought. I put it in the fridge so that it hardens a little bit, because it's getting a bit melty from being next to my PC. You know what I could do with getting some more snacks in at some point. I've got pie and chips tonight for my dinner. For my tea. Let's say tea to make some people happy. The Northerners mostly. Bump the yoke a little bit. I don't want to do that. I should respond to my girlfriend. She messaged me. Just tell her that I'm streaming so she knows if I don't respond to messages, that's why. It doesn't notify her. Aviation Love Rolly and AB Geek. Holy hell. It's so hot eating that food. I'm just eating food. AB Geek Ethan, hello sir, how are you? Let's go through these follows, shall we? Why are they muted? That might be system. I can't hear any of these effects coming through, so 1 second. Let me all of those. And thank you for the raid. So let's go through this, shall we? So first off, AB Geekkeeping, thank you for the raid with 42 people. I do appreciate that, sir. Welcome to the stream. We're just doing a small little flight here in the north of the USA. What new gear do you have? Okay, I've got some Thrustmaster T-Flight pedals and the not the Thrustmaster, the Turtle Beach Flight 1, Velocity 1 yoke. That's it. That's the one. And I'm just getting used to it still. I mostly do small aviation, so general aviation, so it's sort of perfect for that sort of stuff. Let's go through these follows though. There's a lot of people here. So first off, Aviation Love Rolly, thank you for the follow, sir. AV Geekkeeping, thank you for the follow as well. Actimel Multi, thank you for the follow. English Plane Spotter 2, thank you for the follow. And Richie Flies, thank you for the follow. Hope you all enjoy the stream. And yeah, hope you enjoy my not very accurate flying. And Richie Plane Spotter, English Plane Spotter, sorry sir. Thank you for the seatbelt redemption. Ollie's training for his PPL. How is good? Well, Ollie, I would love to do my PPL myself, but I can't afford it right now. If I were on the autopilot, I do the same. Don't worry. Yeah, I mean, it's good to use it. It's an aid, isn't it? It is at the same time. At the end of the day, you know, not IRL. Ah, okay. So if you haven't gathered by the stream title, I'm flying with FS Economy, so I'm doing small little hops here and there. I'm just gonna try and figure out why my stream alerts aren't coming across. I didn't hear any of them. I'm just gonna replay one of these. Yeah. Did you guys hear the follow announcement? Because I didn't. Trying to figure out why. No. Okay. That's a bit weird from Stream Elements. Have I muted it by any chance? No, it shouldn't be muted. I'll try that now. This was working yesterday. I don't know why it's not working today. You see here, follow box. Minus weather something else. I've put it on this because in Detroit it wouldn't be VFR flight rules, it'd be strictly IFR, so I'm just trying to keep it somewhat clear, especially whilst I'm getting used to the new equipment. I don't want to go in too deep and overwhelm myself. Oh, UK wise, oh yeah, I look at my window right now and it's beautiful out there. I don't even have to have my lighting on in my room, just to the windows, well, my curtains are open and that's from all my yeah, exactly. It is, yeah. I'm still trying to figure out my alerts and why they're not working. Gonna try a different camera. If I try this overlay quick and refresh it, is it gonna work? Try a different one. Let's try this one. No, it's just not working. That's weird. You're head out for a walk. Well, have a lovely day. I hope you enjoy your walk outside. It is a beautiful day for it. I might actually go out and take a walk down to the shop myself later after this stream. I'm just not sure why my overlays aren't working. It might be an OBS thing. I could restart the stream, but this should be working is all. Why isn't this working on stream? This is just really weird. I've never had this issue before. Is it because my browser's muted? Maybe I need to have Stream Elements open on here. Let's try that. Jeff23481, thank you for the follow, sir. Welcome to the stream. You would hear Obi-Wan Kenobi say hello there, but it's not working at the minute, and I'm just trying to fix it. I want to go into my overlays, I think. No, I want to go into my elements, that's it. Try this. Okay, it works on the browser on there. It's just a bit weird that it's not working properly. It's very weird that it's not working properly. Try something different here. Tell you what I'm gonna do, guys. I'm gonna very, very quickly pause the stream. I'm gonna restart OBS and see if that does it. I will be back in just a second here. I need the button for this. I'll be back in like literally 2 seconds. That hasn't worked, has it?